What is up, guys? Max here. I make this video with a heavy heart, with a non-triumphant victory dance, as I usually would this type of video, simply because, I don't know, it seems as though sometimes life throws you curveballs and you have to stick in there and not get out of the box. This is definitely one of them, and I need to change one thing now. Be right back. Okay, that's better. There are so many issues and so many pervasive problems, and this is not going to be an anti-California rant, because it's not what I want to communicate, nor the sentiment I feel towards this Golden State. What I do feel, though, and what I do see factually, is a lot of issues, and these issues I'm going to go one by one. Let's go. The real issue of the matter here, the overarching theme, is these good intentions with unintended consequences. As in, we have really good intentions to fix the homelessness problem, and what we're gonna do? Guess what? Keep on spending more and more money on it, and the thought is, the more money we throw at it, the more it's going to improve. But we've seen over the last 20 years that the more money you throw at it, the problem actually continues to exacerbate, not because the money's the issue, but because the people in power who make these decisions on where the money goes or doesn't go is the issue. And that's been the issue for a long, long time. The decline of California did not begin just a year ago. It's been declining for quite some time. It's just now coming to a head in 2020 and now pouring into 2021. And I'm really glad I'm all nice and clean now because, oh man, if you go to any Southern California desirable beach, Venice Beach, Huntington Beach, or let's go even downtown Los Angeles, downtown San Diego, all these really desirable places to live. I mean, 7 figures, $1 million plus won't get you anything besides a 650 square foot 1 bedroom or studio, depending upon where you are. The huge issue is there is so much trash, filth, and oh my goodness, this is the most crazy thing. When I was in Malibu, which is where the likes of Justin Bieber and a lot of celebrities live, there are literally, I kid you not, tents in front of these homes. And not the kind to go camping. The kind to camp at Venice Beach in front of a huge house with a really nice fence in front that you need to intercom the butler to come in. You have that, and you have people literally tent cities in front of these houses, directly in front. They literally open their gate to go walk their Welsh corgi in the morning, and they hit people at their tents. That's how pervasive and how ridiculous it's become. The homelessness problem, especially in the southern part of the state, has been absolutely insane, and Malibu is just one part of it. It's absolutely crazy how an absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of the world can be just destroyed by tents everywhere. And believe me, I'm not knocking on the homeless people. That's not what I'm saying here. It's just I'm knocking the people who are completely able-bodied and able-minded, yet choose to be homeless and do things that homeless people do, like eating out of trash cans and not contributing to society one iota. So the tents are a big issue. The trash is a big issue. My goodness, I'm not going to do an anti-California, like I said. There's just so much trash and so much filth in these really, really high dollar areas. It's just crazy. Second reason, my dream city. My dream city since I was a little boy was to look over my home in Marin County, which is San Francisco, and see the ocean, the peninsula, and then another part, see the Golden Gate Bridge. I've had that thought and sentiment for quite some time now. I remember going there as a kid and saying, oh my gosh, it's cool, which is nice. You have the ocean, which you can only observe, which I'm okay, I don't like sand. And you get the awesome city life that San Francisco has to offer. That city, with these unintended, terrible policies, has now been completely, and I mean completely, destroyed. At 11 o'clock in the morning, do you know what time it is for most of the residents there? It's time to shoot up that black tar in your arm. When I was visiting there last time, no joke, 11 o'clock, walking around to grab a bite to eat after waking up and it's brunch time, I see, not one, but a couple of people very nearby the hotel I was staying in, literally injecting themselves in the middle of the morning with drugs. Again, criminalizing it, I don't know how effective that is. I don't know how effective any of it is, but It's really a shame to see how this is such a pervasive and such a normal part of the city life now. And that's what really is unfortunate. Because a lot of this problem, a lot of significantly the homelessness and the drug problem can be remedied when people have some meaning and responsibility in their life. When they're on the government dole, receiving their disability or social security check for whatever purpose they earned it, or were entitled to it, I guess, they have no purpose and no meaning and no responsibility. When people, especially men, have no purpose, responsibility, and meaning, they gravitate towards very, very bad substances. Substances and decisions. And quite honestly, drugs and alcohol are that easy substance most people go towards, because when you have no meaning in your life, what's the point of living? Nihilism exists, and it is well and alive, and it's really unfortunate that, again, a beautiful city that I have desired to be, again, me, I'm super selfish, I have desired to be throughout my young years, now that has literally gone totally to the back burner unless things drastically change, which, to be completely honest with you, as the legislator sits right now in Sacramento, it's not going to happen. So, San Francisco is off the books. Third reason, anecdotally, say that 3 times fast, people want more government. I talk to small business owners, I talk to individuals, I talk to those who are in C-suite positions. They all seem to be okay with the government expanding. Whether that be is another bill they're going to pass to give more money to people, which is really what it's come down to. We've really lost our way when you start just all these bills are vote for this and you get this, vote for this and you get this. Once we start voting for our own personal benefits money-wise, we're in a heap, that is for sure. And even if they're not really desiring it with their words, they're complacent. They're not fighting for freedom or liberty, which is difficult for me to wrap my mind around, because liberty is my number one value. And as Prager always states, liberty is not it's not the default human thing. The default human reaction to life is to be taken care of and not to be free. To be free, you have to make a choice to do that. And to be honest, to be free, that takes responsibility, which, let's go back to a couple other things. When you have responsibility of meaning, which creates your life a hell of a lot better than it usually is. But when you have no meaning, you have no freedom, and you're on the government dole, people just seem to anecdotally, again, not backed up by statistics, just in my experience, 3 decades in California almost, people are complacent with more government, and that is why I cannot get behind those decisions. Because as the government expands, the individual diminishes. And this country was built on the individual sovereignty and liberty, and that needs to continue moving forward in order for us to be the nation that we were once, and the nation that we can be in the future. And that's, when people talk about unity, that's what I think unity is about. Getting the individual sovereignty back to the individual, less on the government, the community helping out the individual in times of need, not only the government. And that's not. All right, next, taxes. Taxes are usually most people's highest expense, whether they realize it or not. Just because you're getting a tax refund at the end of the year does not mean the government's actually giving you any money back. That means you're just getting money back that you already paid to the system. California has really one thing going for it in regards to taxes. The property tax in California is quite a bit lower. Not the lowest, but it's lower than places like Texas, Florida, these places that have no state income tax. They got to make it up somewhere, and the property taxes are where these state income taxes make it up. With that being said, in the future, perhaps California will be my secondary home, where I don't claim my income and only have my property tax paid there and not my state income tax, because it is about 1 percentage point lower than Texas. And throughout time, as mine and your incomes continue to increase, you got to keep in mind, because California, look at this overlay, shows that it is the highest, not even close, highest income tax bracket state income. Which means if you want to continue supporting the state, which I love supporting the state. I love supporting roads, law enforcement, teachers that teach kids, not teachers' unions. However, the government funds have been so distributed so idiotically, in my estimation. I don't feel as though, almost 14% is a good investment anymore. which is why moving to a lower state income tax state, or zero, I can keep more of my money so I can put into causes and things I want to invest in and not rely on Big Brother to do that. Because as we all know, the more things Big Brother touches, the more they destroy. The more he or it destroys. The utility company, oh my goodness, you have one choice. One choice for utilities. Almost, can't talk about the whole state, but in Northern California where I live, you have one choice. One choice for natural gas or electricity, and usually it's just one choice. And it's this large quasi-state private company. They say it's private, but goodness, they are literally so embedded with the government, it's ridiculous. They filed for bankruptcy when at least forest fire happened a couple years ago. I'm not laughing at the forest fires, I'm just laughing at how ridiculous how a company can file for bankruptcy and continue operating, and it's like, not, business as usual. It's just ridiculous. So just having one option for anything creates a monopoly. And this is where most people don't understand monopolies, where I didn't for a while. I thought monopolies were because the private industry, the one company, was so good at doing everything, they were able to jack up the price so substantially. But in reality this is the reality. So that's what perception is. This is reality. Reality is, every time the government gets in bed with a private company, like the large electricity and natural gas provider in California, they create lots of legislation that makes it almost impossible for a newcomer to come in, which creates the monopoly that this energy company now has with the state. And how is that good? I'm not really too sure, but it always makes rates higher for the consumer, and when you only have one option, you can't shop around, which sucks for the individual. Again, government has more power, and this quasi-state-run private organization, which they say they're private when I kind of joke, but they are private, but it seems as though, they're taking their orders from the state. That's why the free market is so powerful, because if you have one choice, you're in trouble. If you have 5 choices, like in Texas, I had 5 providers, 5 or 6, I forget, 5 or 6 options in the place where I'm moving now that I can choose from. They all have different rates, different packages, different contracts, different ways of going about business. And what's awesome about this is the regulations in California, specifically for energy. Look at your bill if you live in California and see all these taxes, regulations, fees, all this junk. But the part that you really don't see is the subsidizing for the clean and renewable energy you won't see on your bill. You simply will not. But if you look at all the bills that we passed in the last decade to fund these renewable energy things, which I'm all about renewable energy, it just doesn't make sense in every single instant and for everybody. And now in California, when you build a new home, guess what you have to install by law? Solar panels. By law. Again, this is when the government is in bed with these companies, and now an individual can't even buy a house like mine, which cost $150,000 a few years ago. There's no such thing as a $150,000 home with solar. The solar panels cost at least $10,000 to $20,000, maybe even more. So that's the ridiculous thing there. It's these government mandates on how the private enterprise should do business. And that's where I have a big issue, because there's so much red tape, so much regulation, that it makes it almost impossible for anybody with a genius or new idea to enter any of these markets, especially energy, and especially because there's only one option. One option sucks. Having 5 options is way better. I try to stay apolitical, but the reality is this: the K through 12 education, and even the universities in California, and more so everywhere at this point, it's not like it's a mystery, are complete indoctrination camps for Marxist thinking. It's all about the community. It's all about the warfare between the intersectionality, whether it's rich versus poor, black versus white, male versus female. They want to tear us apart. And the only way the left, and I say leftists are very different than the liberals. You have to differentiate the two. Leftists want to silence free speech. Liberals want to promote free speech. Leftists, which are the people who call themselves anti-fascists, yet hit people with bike locks and bring crowbars to their protests, mostly peaceful protests, by the way. Leftists want you to completely suppress free speech and pit male and female, child and parent, everybody against each other, to where all they can have is one thing, and their religion and what their deity is the government. The government's here to save you from your parents, your spouse, your other ethnicity around you. It's all this pitting against each other, and that's again where unity, well, legit unity, not the unity that the government's talking about there, the legit unity that we come as one. And that comes because individuals choose to link arms with brothers and sisters on their own, not indoctrinating in these educational programs. I don't know about you, but I don't want my second grader at age 6, 7, or 8 years old to learn about the gender unicorn or these drag queen situations. The only sexuality they should be thinking about at 6 years old is what parts they have, and that's about it. Not even how they work. You know, one goes pee, one goes poo. That should be it. None of this, any sexuality whatsoever. 6 years old, hell no. So that's the K through 12. The K through 12 is seemingly softcore. Then we get to the university, which is the hardcore indoctrination, which means if you have an R next to your name, you're the devil. If you have any conservative value that does not align with modern leftist thinking, I mean, I don't want to go through everyone. There are too many that are outrageous. But if you're not a Puritan in the sense of you think exactly as we or they think, then you are cast out and you are canceled from everything. They don't want you to have an income, a voice, or anything. It's all gone. And that's the activist. I mean, it's really staggering how many stupid degree programs there are. And yes, I say stupid because anybody can pass them. You don't need to do anything besides flatter your professor with some leftist jargon and drivel, because it's all junk. So, needless to say, at some point I may have children, and there is no way on this earth I will be sending them to California public schools because, well, look back to the last clip. And then lastly, the weather. In Texas, where I'm going, well, first I'll go to California. California, it's usually, 60, 75, 80 degrees. It's not that cold. In Northern California, it's a little more cool, but not so much. I can't wear jackets very often, and I love wearing sport coats and leather jackets, and at 75 and sunny, almost yearly, I can't do that. And I really do like that, because, in my opinion, winter fashion, for men at least, is way, way more enjoyable than wearing a polo or a short-sleeve shirt. Because, to be honest, short-sleeve shirts, for me, are the undershirt. So, the weather's going to be fun, it's going to be different, there's going to be a little humidity. I know, that's how the South works. But the reality is I'm really excited for it, and the weather is just one small factor that keeps most people in California, but for me it's actually helped me push me out, which, if that's the only thing you have going for you is the weather, good luck keeping people in. And the last side note is lots of large companies, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, nobody's a large company, a lot of these influencer type people who have a big pull on culture have now completely exited California. Maybe they keep their secondary home here, but they've exited California as their residence and moved to Texas or Florida. So I guess some Idaho, but usually Texas and Florida. And the more and more these rich folks, the job providers like Musk, for instance, the more they leave, the more the government has to squeeze taxes out of the middle folks. The more the middle folks the more middle folks are squeezed, the more they figure out, why am I being squeezed? Well, they start realizing that since Elon Musk and his friends have all left, the super billionaires that pay or that create the jobs that create most of the taxes, the more and more those jobs leave the state, the less and less tax base there is. The less and less tax base there is, the more and more you just squeeze the middle guy, and the more and more you squeeze the middle guy, the more the middle guy is going to end up exiting. So I used to have a little bit of faith. I am usually optimistic about most things. I'm not optimistic about where California's going. I'm not optimistic about anything financially speaking for the state. I think although they have surpluses, I don't think those surpluses are going to last one bit, and those are accounting surpluses, so I don't know if they're actually there or not. Their surpluses may be there, but the tax base is exiting in droves. Guess what? I couldn't even book a freaking U-Haul to move out of the state because they're all booked up in the whole entire state. Nevada and California, completely booked up. Does that tell you something, what the trend is right now? So this is my farewell to California. I will be moving very, very soon, and this will be the last video in the California, area. And I have a little bit of bitterness towards that. I really wanted this to be my forever home, and that's okay, because I'm going to make a forever home in the Lone Star State, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be quite the adventure, hauling all my stuff, 3 days, with a lot of animals as well. So you guys will see some updates from that. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And I think it's going to help me stretch myself and grow being in a new environment. I'm going to meet all new business connections, all new friends, new gym. I mean, there's so many different things that are going to be so new that it's exciting and apprehensive. I'm apprehensive at the same time, but more so excited because it's going to really push me to become the person I need to be and the person I want to be. And that is the best person I can be in this life. And that's super exciting. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. Do you love California? Do you hate California? Hey, my Texas folks, tell me the best place to eat in Dallas, Texas. Because I want to go there the first trip I'm there. See you guys later, and catch you soon.